Good afternoon. This is the second algebra video. This is for lesson 1-1 and it's part 1 because we're doing this lesson over a couple days. This is page 4 in your textbook. Okay, if you go to page 4. The main goal of our lesson today is to determine in any given situation what is the independent variable and what is the dependent variable, or the independent quantity and the dependent quantity. Okay, in other words, what two things is the problem really about? What are we measuring? Okay, so the top part says, have you ever planned for a party? You may have purchased ice, gone grocery shopping, selected music, made food, or even cleaned in preparation. Many times these tasks depend on another task being done first. For instance, you wouldn't make food before grocery shopping. Okay, so we're going to look at the relationships between the 5 things that you see here in bullet points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to determine what would be the independent variable and what would be the dependent variable. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and we're going to talk about that first. You've probably heard these things in science class before. We're actually going to go down here to the bottom, number 2. Okay. There's a few different ways you can think about it. Okay. The dependent thing, whatever it is, depends on the independent variable. So the dependent depends on the independent. So if you can look at a situation, you've picked out the 2 things that it's about, and you say, well, does A depend on B or does B depend on A? And that's how you can figure out. Another way you can think about it is cause and effect. The cause would be your independent and the effect would be your dependent. So that's kind of a different way of thinking about it. Okay? And you can also think of what happens first being your independent, and what happens next is your dependent. Okay, what did you measure first? What did you measure second? Okay, one thing I want to make a note of here really big: time is independent 99% of the cases. I would say in the whole course this year there will be 1 or 2 times, once today and maybe another time throughout the whole year, where time is not the independent variable. So that's super, super critical. Time, if you're reading a problem and there's any mention of time, 99% of the time that's the independent variable. Okay, so now we're going to go back and look at number 1 here. The directions say to circle the independent quantity and underline the dependent quantity in each statement. I'm going to modify that a little bit and I'm going to use color highlighter. That's what we're doing in class. So we're going to pick a couple highlighters to use color with. And it means the situation's up here. Okay, so the first bullet says the number of hours worked and money earned. Okay, well, the amount of money earned depends on how many hours you work. Okay, so that would be the dependent, that would be the independent. Or you could think of it this way: you work first and then you get paid. Or this is about hours. That's time. That makes it independent. Okay? Your grade on a test and the number of hours that you studied. Well, your grade could depend on the amount of hours you study. Your grade on a test could depend on the amount of hours that you studied. The other way to think about it is you study first, that's your independent, and then you get the grade, you take the test. Again, we've got time in here. That's always, almost always, 99% of the time, going to be a situation where that's the independent variable. All right, this next bullet point, this is the kicker, the one that's one of the only examples we'll do this year where time is not it. Okay, this says the number of people working on a particular job and then the time it takes to complete the job. Well, in this case, if you can imagine a job that has to be done, let's say building a playground. If you have more people working on the playground, it doesn't take you as long. So the amount of time it takes, I gotta switch to the right color here. The time it takes to complete the job actually depends on the number of people that show up to work on it. So this is one matter where the time is actually not going to be independent. Okay? Probably one of only 2 times the whole year that's going to happen. The number of games played and the number of points scored. Okay? The number of games played and the number of points scored. Well, the number of points scored depends on how many games you play. The more games you play, the more points you will get. Okay, you play the games and then you add up all your points. So you think of it chronologically. There's no time in that one. Okay, the speed of the car and how far the driver pushes down on the gas pedal. Okay, the speed of the car depends on how far they push down on the gas pedal. And if you think about it the other way, you push down on the gas pedal and then your car goes faster. So it happens in that order. This is the cause. How far you push down on it causes your car to go faster. Okay? So that's figuring out dependent and independent. Then we did an activity in class today where you read through some situations and you tried to figure out what was independent and what was dependent, and be sure to use the appropriate measurement. Now, this activity, we're going to add to this tomorrow. So there's a lot more information. Look at these are a much longer word problem than we had for the bullet items 2 pages ago. Okay, these are pretty short. These are much longer problems. Okay, however, there's more information in here than what we need to just do what I asked for today. What I asked today is to identify your independent and dependent quantities. Okay, and so I'm scanning this and I'm looking for measurement words. Okay, Candace is as a building manager for the Crowley Enterprise office building. One of her responsibilities is cleaning the office building's 200-gallon aquarium. For cleaning, she must remove the fish from the aquarium and drain the water. The water drains at a constant rate of 10 gallons per minute. Okay, so I see a couple measurement words in here. The word gallon is represented twice. And I'm going to switch colors because I don't remember which color I had before as my dependent and independent. So I see the word gallons a couple times here. And I see the word minute. So those things I'm picking out. The rest of the details I'm not too focused on right this minute. Mainly because minute is a dead giveaway. This is about time. So the minutes, time, is my independent quantity with a unit being minutes. That means the other unit that was in here, which is gallons, okay, and that's volume in gallons. And that's what I was really looking for. And actually I wrote awfully big for this because we're going to be pasting. We have some graphs that we're going to match up with the situation, and they're going to go there. Okay, so let's do another one. Smartphone, but is it a smart deal? You have your eye on an upgraded smartphone. However, you currently do not have the money to purchase it. Your cousin will provide the funding as long as you pay him interest. He tells you you need to pay $1 in interest initially, and then the interest will double each week after that. You consider his offer and wonder, is this really a good deal? Okay, and let's see. So I see the word week in here. And this problem is about money. Okay guys, I got interrupted on this video. The bell rang and I taught class. But I think we left off on the smartphone problem. So the thing that we're measuring in the smartphone problem is weeks and interest. So weeks is a measurement of time. That's our independent quantity. And interest in dollars is money. You know, all those things go under our dependent quantity. Can't wait to hit the slopes. Andrew loves skiing. He just hates the ski lift ride back to the top of the hill. For some reason, the ski lift has been acting up today. His last trip started fine. The ski lift traveled up the mountain at a steady rate of about 83 feet per minute. I like it when they put the something per something else in there because we immediately get the 2 units that we're talking about right in one sentence. The rest of the problem says, then all of a sudden it stopped and Andrew sat there waiting for 10 minutes. Finally, the ski lift began to ascend up the mountaintop. Okay, those are all details that are going to help us tomorrow, but for today, feet and minutes are our quantities or our variables. Minutes automatically, that's a unit of time. That is our independent quantity. And then feet is a unit of distance, and that is our dependent quantity. Okay, so for the rest of these, I'm just going to go through and uncover the answers. And you can pause here and go and read each scenario and fill the rest of them in. Now, in my 5th period class, we got to go over a few more of these. In my 8th period class, we did not. So if you have not already filled these in from 8th period and you want to fill them in, here we go. We're also going to go over them in 8th period tomorrow in the beginning of class. So we've got independent quantity is the number of cuts in the rope, and the dependent quantity is the length of each piece of rope. The baton twirling one was our had a little announcement there. The baton twirling one was our exit ticket, so hopefully you got this right. Our independent quantity is time measured in seconds, and our dependent quantity is height measured in of the baton measured in feet. Music club. Independent is number of songs, and dependent is the cost in dollars. Trip to school. Independent is time in minutes, and dependent is distance. Jelly bean challenge. The independent is the number of jelly beans guessed, and the number of jelly beans the guess is off by. So again, we will go over these in class. Tonight, remember, I want you to cut out the graphs on pages 11 and 13 and either attach them together with a paper clip or put them in a Ziploc baggie and bring them to class all cut out tomorrow. You could probably do the vocabulary words and questions 1 through 6 on your homework could be done by tomorrow. We've had enough of the lesson to do that far. Okay, otherwise, see you tomorrow. Have a great day.